Welcome back to Horizon Raceplex, except this isn't the big super speedway that we raced on last year. This is Horizon Speed Bowl, located across the street from the super speedway. We've flown the top 10 in points from the 2023 season up to the moon to complete an all-star race of sorts, just for some off-season fun. It's called the Down Home Classic, but it's more so about the type of racing rather than the location, because this is the least down-home location that there is. It'll be a dirt discipline race, with the first event being 3 laps with street stocks, a slower, heavier classic dirt race car. The drivers that have the best skill in racing in traffic will prevail here. Then we'll run 3 laps with the big block modifieds, a class very similar to the dirt late models that we ran in 2022. These cars are much faster but are still very heavy. Drivers with good car control will prevail here. Then we'll finish the event off with a 2-lap dash with winged sprint cars with big V8s in them. This race will be run on the smaller sprint car track located in the big room connected to the side of the stadium. The drivers with good situational awareness and reaction time will rise to the top here. So 3 wins are up for grabs, and at the end we will tally all the drivers' average finishes, and the winner of the entire event will be crowned. So 4 wins in total are up for grabs. So now for an announcement on 2 key drivers that were in the top 10 in points: the President and Cannon Carl, 5th and 8th in points respectively in 2023. And they will not be competing in this race, as this race was not announced back in August when President retired from full-time competition. So he has decided not to compete even though he was invited. Cannon Carl, on the other hand, has been indefinitely suspended from World Race Series competition due to things that unfolded during the offseason. Another Midnight Motorsports controversy. So the 11th and 12th in points have been moved up to fill the slots, except there are not 2 extra sets of 3 cars for those teams to run. So it will be the Owl 11th and Deadshot 12th, respectively in points, that will run, and the Owl will share a ride with Big Ed and run one of the 2 races, and Deadshot will share a ride with Wavy J and run one of the 2 races. Though Deadshot and Wavy J are on different teams, they have opted to run one last race in collaboration, even though they really don't like one another. But they really just don't have any other option. Plus there's no other big-time racing drivers in this lineup. So now, without further ado, let's move on to the qualifying order for feature number 1. Arpegia has claimed her first legitimate pole of her career, surprising considering it's her 2nd ever dirt race. Bandit starts 2nd, a very good dirt racer. Matzo, so far the best dirt racer the World Race Series has seen so far. Then there's the Hippie, also starting her 2nd dirt race ever. Night Runner, our 2023 champion, making his first start after reuniting with Wisconsin Motorsports. He's had mixed results on dirt. Wavy J starts 6th, making his first dirt racing start. Big Ed starts 7th. So far he hasn't been very good on dirt. And 8th is surprisingly Lucky Tito, the 2022 champion and a driver with a good dirt racing resume. Alright, and now, on to feature number 1. And we're all lined up and ready to go. All these drivers won by the Reds. And a good start for all the drivers on the outside. Bandit takes the lead. The Hippie's up to 3rd. Matzo takes it back on the inside. The Hippie hangs on, and Arpegia has retaken the lead. Big Ed makes it 3 wide to take 5th from last place. Contact as Wavy J passes. Whoa, Night Runner almost gets loose there. Meanwhile, Matzo has taken 2nd. And now a dive for 1st, and he has it. Now we begin lap 2, and Night Runner is on the inside. He dives past Big Ed for 5th, and Bandit dives on Arpegia to take 2nd. Meanwhile, Lucky Tito mounts a charge to take 6th. Big Ed won't give it up easily, though. And the Hippie takes 3rd. Arpegia is falling. Now Night Runner passes her, and he mounts an attack on Hippie as the final lap begins. And he has it. Night Runner has taken 3rd. 2 more cars left. Arpegia with a huge dive past the Hippie. She's back. And now on the inside of Night Runner. The final turn! Who will it be? Matzo charges in 1st. Can Bandit pass him? And it's Matzo! And Arpegia has passed Night Runner for 3rd. What a race. A thrilling 3-lap dash to open up the All-Star Classic. Matzo grabs his 4th win of his career, putting him 3rd in the all-time wins list, right behind Crispy. It's his 3rd dirt win of his career, and maybe he could sweep this whole event. With this, he resurrects his win streak from the grave. He's now won in 4 consecutive seasons. 4! A World Race Series record and the only driver to do it thus far. Very good competitive efforts from all drivers involved, but surprisingly Lucky Tito was finished in 8th. Maybe he can rally back in feature number 2. Speaking of that, on to the drivers for that event. On the pole after qualifying earlier this morning is Deadshot, trading seats with Wavy J. And he's on his second pole of his career. Last time he was on pole, he won, all the way back in his very first race at Suzuka. Can he do it again in his first ever dirt race? Starting second is the feature number 1 winner. Never far behind on dirt, but still has never started on pole, is Matzo. Starting third is the Owl, trading seats with fellow Comet driver Big Ed. It's her second dirt race and she finished 13th at Eldora in 2022. Maybe she can show what she learned that day. In fourth is the Bandit, after a great start to this event. Can they keep it up? Starting fifth is Lucky Tito with a much better qualifying effort than the last feature. In sixth is Arpegia. I guess she's not as fast in these faster dirt cars. The same thing could be said for the Hippie, starting seventh. Starting in dead last is Night Runner. Hopefully, he can make up as many spots as he did in the last feature to save his day. If not, he's definitely losing this event. And now, let's begin the Big Block Modified feature for the All-Star Classic. And they're lined up again. And they're off. A good start by Matzo, and he is in the lead up there. Night Runner's got a bad start, and way to the inside. Deadshot's retaking the lead on the inside past Matzo. Lucky Tito has managed to get past the Hippie for 6th. And Arpegia has also passed the Bandit for 4th. Night Runner goes way inside to start lap 2. He loves running the inside here. And a big dive to pass the Hippie. Not quite there yet, maybe into the next corner. And there he goes. He makes contact. He nearly lost it, but he caught it. Looks like Hippie didn't like that move. Maybe some dirty driving by Night Runner. We've also begun the final lap here. And a big arc over the corner, now to the inside of Lucky Tito, and he's done it. And another huge dive, past Bandit, and a shunt into Arpegia for 4th. And Bandit passes Arpegia as well, and it is Deadshot who wins feature number 2. Deadshot gets the second World Race Series win of his career, 4 years after his first one back in 2019. It also comes in his very first dirt race over some of the very best dirt racers our series has to offer. Very impressive, and maybe a sign of things to come. Night Runner had a very good race, going up from last to 4th, but he drove real dirty to get there. I don't think Hippie, Bandit, or Arpegia will be very happy going forward, and he might have to watch his back in the third feature. He's going to have to outrun them to stay in the hunt for their overall win, because they will not be racing him cleanly. Speaking of the overall, here are the standings as they are before the final feature. Matzo leads, unsurprisingly, with a 1st and 2nd place finish so far. Bandit in 2nd, just like at Eldora in 2022. Night Runner in 3rd with 2 4th place finishes. Deadshot has exponentially raised Wavy J's point standings. We'll have to see if he can keep that up in feature number 3. Arpegia has fallen heavily since getting the pole in the first feature. The Owl has also raised Big Ed's standings with an excellent 3rd place finish. The Hippie and Lucky Tito are surprisingly low. It's Hippie's first dirt event, but I don't know what's going on with Tito. Alright, and now, on to the drivers for the last feature to determine who wins the entire All-Star Classic. And it's Matzo, finally getting the first pole position of his career. After all of these dirt races, he's got it. It will be very hard for him to lose this event at this point. And Night Runner lines up outside of him. And in this race, he's not driving his usual number 21 or 24 car. This race, he's driving a golden painted car to commemorate his championship this season. But also the number 7, which is meant to honor a family dog that has recently passed away. The number 7 is the closest number in shape to a comma, a nickname used for Tank the Pug, who passed away on December 1st of this year. He runs that number in memoriam. Maybe he can win with it. Starting 3rd is the Bandit, who is very close to taking the win in this event. Starting 4th is Big Ed, back in the driver's seat after the Owl made some laps. Wavy J hops back in the seat and starts in 5th, a really good qualifying effort for him. Maybe sprint cars might be his thing. In 6th is Lucky Tito. He can't win the event, but maybe he can turn his bad finishes around and make up some in the standings. Starting 7th will be the Hippie. Even though they had a great start to the event, she's sort of fallen off. Starting in last is Arpegia, who could also technically win this event still, but it'd be sort of difficult and kind of a miracle. It would require a win and for Matzo to finish in last place, and then for no other drivers to make up that in points. Alright, and we're ready to rip for 2 laps on the Horizon Dirt Stadium sprint car track. And we're ready to go for the final time today. Matzo takes the green, he's on the inside. A huge slide for Night Runner, and Bandit and Big Ed both pass him on the inside. Oh, into Hippie! but she saves it. Night Runner to the inside, and he passes all 4, and 3 wide. Wavy J had the lead, and now it's Matzo that leads to the start of the second and final lap. But Night Runner battles back on the outside. Wavy J back to the lead on the inside, and a big checkup for Night Runner. Matzo and Big Ed are fighting for third, and a huge dive by Night Runner, and he takes the lead. Final corner, Big Ed has second. Who will it be? And it's Night Runner with the momentum. He gets it done. Wow, he's finally done it. Back in victory lane for the first time since November of 2020. It's been 3 years. After a horrible 2020 season, 2 really good seasons, and a championship, Night Runner has finally won again in the World Race Series. He now strengthens his record at now 9 wins, but only 3 in the post-stop motion era. He's really only in the lead because of the 2014 season alone. Without that, he'd be lost in the sea of drivers. And Matzo, and I guess Crispy as well, would be in the lead for all-time winners. Big Ed came through the field to finish strong after a great race at Okanichi this year and being rejuvenated by time travel. I think he's improving, especially on dirt. Watch out for him next year if there is a dirt race. Wavy J shows out on only his second ever dirt event, nearly grabbing his first win. A future sprint car star here, maybe. Matzo finished 4th, a fall from grace for sure, but he still may win this event. And Bandit also fell hard, finishing 5th. As they finish behind Matzo, they're ineligible to win the event. The same goes for the Hippie, but she has really been fighting a lot with Night Runner today, so a lot can be attributed to that. Lucky Tito and Arpeggia also finished poorly, a dramatic fall from grace in this event. Hopefully, Tito can put his things together before the start of the 2024 season. And now to see who won overall. And it's Matzo, no surprise there, with the best average finish out of all drivers. With his win in the last feature, Night Runner is close behind in second. The Wisconsin Motorsports 1-2 finish, complete with a dramatic improvement on dirt for Night Runner in 2023. And as you can see, Matzo's doing his victory celebration in the background. Wavy J also rides hot off of Deadshot's win and grabs 3rd place for the pair. They would have easily won if Wavy J did better in the street stock race. Big Ed and the Owl were a great duo as well, finishing 4th. Bandit and Arpeggia fell off hard, but both were able to stay out of the lower 2 spots due to their great feature number 1 race. Then Hippie and Lucky Tito fill the bottom 2 spots. Hippie has great potential on dirt. Maybe if there was less contact on track, she could have been placed higher. And that'll do it for the All-Star Classic, aka the Down Home Classic, except it's not really down home, so we just call it the All-Star Classic, the official last race of the 2023 World Race Series season. But before we go, let's look at some silly season stuff and the updated all-time wins list. With Matzo winning the event today and feature number 1, he has grabbed 2 wins in total. This makes his total 5 wins in his career, tying him with Crispy. Night Runner is 4 wins ahead of them with 9 now. Safe to say he has graduated from his winless drought. Now the real test is to see if he can win in the regular season. Alright, and now on to silly season stuff. Starting with the championship team this year, with the departure of President and Night Runner from Legend Racing, they have no franchise driver currently, meaning for the first time, the team will have only 2 full-time drivers, the Bandit and Woofair. Rumor is also out that the Bandit is eyeing retirement, but is unsure at this moment. This means it will be a slim chance that the team can keep up their owner's championship streak, but perhaps they may bring another driver up from part-time. Though Manny and Calculator Cam, their only part-time drivers right now, are reportedly not interested in running a full season. Then we have Midnight Motorsports. Matt Jack has left the team and Ken and Carl has been banned from competition, meaning Wavy J is their last remaining full-time driver. The team is in dire straits after losing so many drivers and they may no longer be able to stay afloat after next year. But reportedly, Giotto has left Lucky Tito Incorporated, since President will become their sole part-time driver that they can afford. So he will join Midnight Motorsports to become another part-time driver for them, though he has said that if a full-time slot opens up, he will take it. There are other part-time drivers in their roster, like Paco Tacos and No Curry, but they've all left to pursue other passions and compete in tuner leagues back home, meaning Giotto stands alone. With Lucky Tito Incorporated, Lucky Tito himself will continue to drive full-time, but he has just announced that 2024 will be his final full-time season in the World Race Series. He says he wants to shift focus and work on his own endeavors instead. Word is out that his finances are going towards other things, which might explain why his speed has been down in this event. The President will run a part-time schedule for the team, limited to 2 races a season, one of them being the Road to the Dream. As for the Wolfpack, Metalhead will be definitely reverting to a part-time schedule. The rumors of Crucifix retiring from full-time racing are also most likely false at this point, and she will run full-time for the team next year. Hippie will be returning to part-time next year despite being one of the best drivers in 2023 and nearly being crowned a champion. High Cholesterol will continue racing for the team as well, in a full-time capacity. As for Wisconsin Motorsports, Night Runner, of course, is running for them again in 2024, and the future is bright. Matzo, of course, will return. Big Willie and the Rocket will also most likely run full-time as well, making them one of the few 4-driver teams next year. As for Comet Racing, Arpegia, Big Ed, Ethan, and the Owl will all compete full-time, making them another 4-driver team. I think if any driver you want to look out for next year, it's Arpegia. She'll probably be the next driver to get their first win, mark my words. The Witch will go down to a part-time schedule as the effects of her concussion have been too great. Paradise Racing returns to full-time competition, but only Surf Rat will run full-time. I think they're going to try out running only one driver. Meanwhile, Steph will return to part-time competition, even though she has more wins than Surf Rat. As for Desert Motorsports, Bobber and Ranch Hand have surprisingly planned to only run part-time next year. Sissy will also run part-time for them in at least one start. As for Big Time Racing, Matt Jack will run his first full-time season as owner of the team. Rebel will return for his sophomore season, and Barebone will drive his first full-time season this year. This team will be one of the most interesting ones in 2024 and one to watch. After an abysmal season, Sunset Motorsports has 2 full-time drivers, Crispy and Sheepster. Sheepster is another driver that has been rumored to be retiring soon. Inc. has also been relegated to part-time next year. So that's 20 drivers, who at this current moment fill all 20 full-time slots. The one mystery driver going by the name of T-Dog has been rumored to be in the BTR stable, and may join the team as a full or part-time driver if the position opens up. They've been linked to Wisconsin Motorsports as well. Deadshot will also run part-time for BTR, of course. As for DTR, they will run several part-time drivers such as Pepe Psycho, The Dominator, and Big Bro Gabe. Still no full-time entry, and no word on Jeezy, who did not run a single race last year. Owl Motorsports has announced it will be shutting down, though they will make one final start in 2024. American Racing will also make at least one start next year. As far as Express Racing goes, Number One Sun is still around, and Enderman, who will now go by Rookie in 2024, will also be vying for a full-time spot next year, but no word on him yet. And alright, that's silly season going into 2024, and one final announcement. 2024 will officially be the final season of World Race Series competition. Well, at least the final year of full season racing. After 2024, these series will only run 1 or 2 races a year, and not for a driver's championship. Or at least not one to the scale of previous years. So it will be a big send-off with a unique championship format. More info on that when the season starts. It's been a fun day of racing, and until then, this is Zaylor Marfoff signing off.